In this video, we're going to explain everything you need to know to travel to Porto, the most complete video you'll watch today about this destination, with the best tips. So let's get started. Porto is the capital of northern Portugal and one of the most fascinating cities in Europe. Unlike sunny Lisbon, Porto has a more rustic, melancholic, and authentic atmosphere. It's a city built on steep granite hills with breathtaking views of the Douro River, and it's the birthplace of the famous port wine. Let's start with the main attractions, the places you can't miss. The number one attraction and the heart of the city is the Ribeira district. It's the riverfront of the Douro River, famous for its colorful old houses that seem stacked on top of each other. The attraction here is to walk along the Cais da Ribeira, sit in a cafe, and admire the view of the Rabelo boats, which are the old boats that used to transport the wine. The walk is free. The tip is to avoid the tourist trap restaurants with photo menus right on the waterfront. Walk one street back, and you'll find better and cheaper food. The second attraction is the Dom Luís First Bridge. It's the icon of Porto, a two-level iron bridge that connects Porto to Vila Nova de Gaia. It was designed by a disciple of Gustave Eiffel, and you can see the resemblance. The golden tip is, walk across the upper deck, where the metro also runs. The view of Porto, the Ribeira, and the river from up there, especially at sunset, is the most beautiful photo of the trip. Crossing is free. The third attraction is on the other side of the bridge, the port wine cellars. Pay attention. The wine is not aged in Porto, but in Vila Nova de Gaia. You need to cross the bridge and visit a cellar. The most famous are Sandeman, Taylor's, and Graham's. We recommend booking a guided tour in advance, especially in summer. The tour explains the history and production of the fortified wine and ends with a tasting of different types of port, like Ruby and Tawny. The ticket for a tour and tasting starts at around €20. The fourth attraction is Livraria Lello. It became world famous for supposedly inspiring the library in the Harry Potter films, although the author has since denied this. Regardless, the bookstore is stunning, with its red staircase and stained glass ceiling. To visit, you need to buy a ticket, which they call a voucher. It costs about €5. This amount is deducted if you buy a book inside. The line is gigantic, so buy your timed entry ticket online. Near the bookstore is the Clérigos Tower. It's the tallest Baroque church tower in Portugal and the symbol of the city. The church is beautiful, but the attraction is climbing its 240 steps. The climb is narrow, but the 360-degree view of Porto and its orange roofs from the top is unmissable. The ticket for the tower and museum costs €8. Sixth, the São Bento station. It's not just a train station. It's a work of art. Entry is free. Go into the main hall and admire the more than 20,000 blue and white tiles that cover the walls. They tell the history of Portugal and the traditions of the north. It's one of the most beautiful places to take photos. This is where the trains to Braga, Guimarães, and the Douro Valley depart from. Finally, Rua de Santa Catarina. This is the main shopping street in Porto, closed to cars. It's great for people watching, with popular stores like Zara. But the main attraction on the street is the Café Majestic. It's a historic cafe from the 1920s with stunning Art Nouveau decor. It's expensive. A coffee can cost €5, but it's worth going in to see it. Nearby, don't miss the Capela das Almas, Chapel of Souls, a church completely covered in blue tiles on the outside. An important tip that will save you time and money is to buy tickets for attractions and tours in advance. Buying on the spot is always more expensive, and the most famous tourist spots like Livraria Lello, the Palacio de Bolsa, and the wine cellar tours often sell out days before. We'll leave the link on the QR code on the screen and in the description to the site where we always buy tickets and tours for the best price. It's the largest tour site in the world and has practically everything there. Tickets for Livraria Lello, tickets for the Clérigos Tower, tickets for Guimarães Castle, and port wine tasting tours, all at the best price. And you can buy in any currency, saving on fees. And they have free tours that are great, like walking tours of Ribeira. And remember that in the link below, we always organize everything you need to plan your entire trip for the best price. The sites we use to plan our trips and that have everything much cheaper. International travel eSIM, travel insurance at half price, tickets for all the attractions we mentioned, the good and cheap hotels we've stayed at, the car rental comparator which is essential for the Douro Valley, and the global account to carry euros paying much lower fees. And the links already contain automatic discounts, as we are always updating them. So save this page to your favorites and use it when planning. It will make your trip much easier and save you a lot of money. When is the best time to visit Porto? In our opinion, the best times are spring, from April to June, and fall, in September and October. The weather is perfect, not too hot and not too cold. The fall, especially in September, is the time of the Vindima, the grape harvest in the Douro Valley, which is a nearby trip. We recommend avoiding July and August. It's summer and it gets very hot. Winter, from November to March, is the time to avoid. Porto is a notoriously rainy and cold city in winter, which can greatly disrupt walking tours. And how many days to stay in Porto? To see the essentials of the city of Porto and Vila Nova de Gaia, you need 2 to 3 full days. But Porto is the perfect base for exploring northern Portugal. If you want to take the mandatory day trips to Braga and Guimarães and maybe a full day in the Douro Valley, the ideal is to set aside 5 to 7 days in total. Staying in a good area will make your trip much easier. The choice of base in Porto is very important because of the hills. The most famous region is Ribeira, by the river. The advantage is the charm of waking up with the view of the Dom Luís I Bridge. The disadvantages are many. It's the most touristy area, can be noisy at night, and it's a very steep climb to get back from the metro station or the center. Carrying luggage there is very difficult. Our favorite region, and the most practical, is Baixa, near Avenida dos Aliados and São Bento station. The advantage is that this area is relatively flat, has more shops, local restaurants, and you are right next to the São Bento station to catch trains for day trips, and the Trindade metro station, which takes you to the airport. You can also stay in Vila Nova de Gaia, on the other side of the river. The advantage is you'll have the best view of Porto, and you'll be next to the wine cellars. The disadvantage is having to cross the bridge every time you want to go to Porto's center. We created this custom map, which explains exactly which is the best region. If you stay in the Baixa or Aliados area, you can't go wrong. We'll leave the link to this map here on the QR code, on the screen, and in the video description. We created it on the hotel site we always use, as it always has the best prices. There, you can put in your travel dates and see all the hotel options within that location, at the lowest prices. We'll also leave links to the hotels where we've stayed. In every destination, we always recommend one that is very cheap and super well located in Baixa, and another that's a bit nicer, with a view of Ribeira. They are great options. An important tip to save on lodging is the advanced booking strategy. The earlier you book your hotel, the less you will pay. This is why we love using this website. Besides having the lowest prices, it has free cancellation for almost all hotels. You can book as early as possible to guarantee a much lower price, and if you need to cancel later, it's super easy and costs nothing. Now let's talk about transportation. How to get around Porto. The main answer is on foot. The city is compact, but be prepared for the hills and stairs. You will walk a lot. For longer distances, the metro in Porto works very well. It's more of a light rail system. The main line you'll use is the E line, the purple line, which takes you from Porto Airport, OPO, directly to the city center at Trindade or Bolhão Station in about 30 minutes. It costs about €2. You can also use the trams. Line 1 is the most touristy. It goes from the Ribeira Center to Foz do Douro, where the river meets the ocean. The ride is beautiful, right along the riverbank, and costs about €3.50. And a car? Do not rent a car in Porto, ever. The traffic is chaotic, the streets are narrow, and parking is almost impossible and very expensive. Plus, the historic center is a limited traffic zone. What about Uber or Bolt? They work very well in Porto and are very cheap. Often, for 2 people, an Uber ride is cheaper than buying 2 metro tickets. For day trips like Braga, Guimarães, and the Douro, use the train Comboio, which leaves from São Bento station. Mandatory documentation for travelers. To enter Portugal, which is part of the European Schengen area, you need 2 things. First, your valid passport, and second, travel insurance. Travel insurance in Europe is mandatory under the Schengen Treaty, with a minimum coverage of €30,000. They can ask for proof of your insurance at immigration. We never travel without it, and in the link in the description, there's the comparator we use that always finds the insurance at half the price. And be aware, soon, an electronic travel authorization called ETIAS will also be mandatory, so check on that before you travel. Let's talk shopping. The obvious purchase in northern Portugal is port wine. You'll find the best variety and prices at the cellars in Vila Nova de Gaia. Also buy Vinho Verde, which is typical of the Minho region. The second famous purchase is cork products and hand-painted tiles. In Guimarães, you'll find traditional embroidery. And in Porto, Rua de Santa Catarina is the main shopping street, with department stores like Zara, and the tax-free tip applies. The tax in Portugal, VAT, is 23%. You can request a refund on purchases over €50. Ask for the form in the store and validate it at the Porto airport. And for those who are new here to the channel, welcome. Our mission is to help you travel more and better around the world. If you're enjoying it, subscribe to the channel and like the video. It helps us a lot. Speaking of gastronomy, the food of northern Portugal is hearty, heavy, and delicious. The star of Porto is the francesinha. It's a giant sandwich with steak, sausage, and ham, covered in melted cheese and a hot beer and tomato sauce. It usually comes with an egg and fries. You have to try it. Another unmissable dish is codfish. In Porto, ask for bacalhau à Gomes de Sá. You also need to try polvo à la guerreiro, roasted octopus in olive oil. And the most famous sandwich among locals is the sanduíche de pernil, a roast pork sandwich with mountain cheese. For restaurant suggestions, for the best francesinha, Café Santiago is the most traditional and awarded. It costs about €12. For the best pork sandwich, Casa Guedes is the place. The sandwich with cheese costs about €7. For a modern experience, the Mercado Beira Rio is in Gaia, facing the Ribeira. It's a luxury food hall with many options. And for a luxury dinner in Porto, with 2 Michelin stars and an incredible view, The Yateman is unforgettable, but be prepared to spend over €200 per person. And how much does it cost to eat in Porto? It's paradise. It's one of the cheapest cities in Western Europe. A full Big Mac combo costs about €7. A beer, Superboc or Sagres, costs €1.50. The golden tip is to look for the Prato do Dia, dish of the day, at lunchtime. For 10 to 15 euros, you get a starter, main course, drink, dessert, and coffee. A full dinner at a mid-range restaurant will be around 30 to 40 euros per person. And the tip? Service is not included. It's not mandatory, but it's very kind and expected to leave about 10%. What about nightlife? The night in Porto is super lively. The epicenter of the nightlife is Rua das Galerias de Paris and its side streets. The bars are tiny, and the party happens in the street, with thousands of students and tourists. In Ribeira, the bars are calmer and more touristy, perfect for a glass of wine with a view of the illuminated bridge. Traveling with kids? Porto is great for kids. They'll love the Six Bridges cruise on the Douro River. The ticket costs about 15 euros. They also like climbing the Clarigos Tower. Guimarães Castle is perfect for them. And the Bom Jesus funicular in Braga is also a great activity. Combining your trip, Porto is the perfect base for exploring the north. The #1 combination is the Douro Valley. You can go by train from São Bento to Pinhão. The journey takes 2.5 hours and is one of the most beautiful in the world. We recommend sleeping there. The second combination is with Minho. You can take one-day train trips to Braga and Guimarães. And the third combination is with Lisbon. You take the Alpha Pendular high-speed train, and in 3 hours and 15 minutes, you're in the capital. If you like the video, like and subscribe to our channel to always travel more and better around the world. Thank you very much and have a great trip.